Morning. We are finishing up with our chapter 12. It's kind of a quick chapter for us. Let's look at those key terms that we have. Our first one is urban. What does urban mean? Ryan?
Of or relating to the city.
Of or relating to the city. So if that is urban, what is rural, Ethan? Of or relating to the countryside. So if that's urban and that's rural, city and country, where do we live, Sam? Suburban areas. So we're not in the downtown area. We're not in the city. We're on the outskirts. So we're in the suburbs. Who are the working class? Chase?
People who work for hourly wages, usually in jobs that require physical labor.
So the working class are the hard labor workers. They're doing physical labor. They don't typically sit at a desk. They are paid hourly. They don't get those salaries every week. They're only paid for the time that they work. What is a boom? Colin?
A boom is like a rapid population.
So that boom is that rapid growth in a population. Could be from people moving into an area. They're all excited about a new area. Could be a baby boom like after World War II where they started lots of families. Could be an economic boom, like when all these industries kind of exploded and they had all these factories growing so that they made a lot of profit. With that economic boom comes the labor unions. What is a labor union and why is it important, Sam?
It's an organization that helps workers get better wages and working conditions.
Yeah. So it's that organization that helps the workers as the factories were growing. And there's that economic boom because people were making all that profit. The owners weren't necessarily looking out for the workers. They wanted to make profits. That only benefited them. It didn't benefit the workers. So the labor unions came around to help the workers out. So they had a voice. So they were getting fair wages. So they were getting safe work conditions. So the labor unions help take care of them so they're not taken advantage of. If they are being taken advantage of and they're getting too low of a pay or they have bad working conditions, then they can have something called a strike. What is the strike, Julian?
Refusal to work to force the employer to meet the demands.
Yep. So that strike is when the workers refuse to do the work. They're not getting paid if they're not doing the work, but they know that that's going to force they're hoping that will force the employers who aren't getting a profit because there's no product being made. So it forced them to meet their demands. Doesn't always work that way, as we saw in our readings. Sometimes people go on strike and everybody's lined up saying, we're not going to work because we need better pay. We need better working conditions. And then the employer brings in the scabs, those temporary workers who will cross the picket line because they're not making any money and they want to make some money. They need to put food on their table. So if they're able to bring in enough scabs and the work continues, it's not hurting the employers at all. So they don't have to cave and they don't have to meet those demands. Doesn't mean that anything is getting solved, anything is getting better. So there's going to continue to be problems like we saw at the iron mines. There continued to be problems over the years until they finally caved in and gave them better pay, better working conditions. What is a citizen, or who is a citizen, Ryan?
A person born or naturalized into a country who's entitled to the rights provided by its government.
So it's the people that are born in a country, they're naturally a citizen. They're automatically a citizen. Or an immigrant that moves into a country, they go through the process to become a citizen. We call it naturalization. So they're naturalized as a citizen. So if you are an immigrant, you can become a citizen and get naturalized, and then you get all of the same rights as all of the other citizens. If you are just an immigrant and you're not naturalized, there are certain things that you don't have a right to, such as voting. I don't know a lot of the other things because I haven't studied the naturalization process to know exactly what other rights they're receiving, but there are more rights that they receive when they become a citizen. So those are those key terms. Remember, we talked yesterday about how we were wrapping up our chapter. On Monday, we will be working on the chapter comprehension page, correcting it on Tuesday. Wednesday is art day, so test will be on Thursday. We are having our religion quiz also on Thursday. We're going to start a new chapter, and we're going to go through it a little bit quicker. We're going to get finished before Easter break. So just so you know, we are doing the religion quiz and the social studies test next week, Thursday. So we've got a lot coming up. I would like to have pushed one to Wednesday, but with it being an art day, that's pretty hard. So just know next week is going to be a lot of preparing for those two tests. Today, what we are working on is our investigation page. And so in our book, it starts on page 256, Making Ends Meet. What we're going to be reading about in this section is how these working class families have to budget and have to allocate their money so they are able to afford things, so they're able to live. So we're going to be reading about what the people at this time in the early 1900s, what they had to go through. They didn't make a lot of money. Things didn't cost as much as they cost now, but we make a lot more money than what the working class was making back then, because this is before they had that minimum wage put in place, before they had things, shorter work days, all of those kind of things. So we're going to look at what their life was like and what they went through to be able to live their lives. We are going to be doing a worksheet after we read that section. The worksheet is about a monthly budget. And this is something that people today still do. We're on a budget. We're going to spend so much money on food. We're going to spend so much on entertainment, on vacation. We have to budget our money because we want some money to go into savings to help pay for college for our kids, to help save for retirement. So families still do budget plans. So we're going to see what kind of budget they would have had back in the early 1900s. How we're going to work this today is I am going to let you partner up. So you're going to read the section with a partner and then work on this worksheet together. Those of us that are at home working on this, you're just going to have to work on it on your own. But I do have it attached to the Google Classroom assignment. So you are going to be able to partner up. It's going to be a calm, quiet, focused time. So we're going to try to get this done in class. So if you are at home listening to this, you are free to do the reading and to the worksheet on your own. We hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon.